Damien?
Right. I just saw it.
Okay. Greg.
Hey, Josh. Good to see you live.
I know.
Yeah.
I was in the area, so I stopped by.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
You guys have 3 games at home coming up.
Yeah.
Obviously, 9 points, 20 games, not where you guys wanted to be.
Sure.
Do these 3 games take on a bigger importance, or can you afford to give them a bigger importance, knowing that a lot of times it's 1 game at a time?
Yeah, I think we have to look at every game as of the utmost importance. You know, I look at the last 8 games since the New York game, and 5 of those were on the road, 3 of them were at home. I feel like we squandered 9 points in those games. I think we should have taken 15 because we were either in leading positions in the last minutes of the game, or in the event of the other night, we had 8 big chances that we don't take. And I feel like we've got to figure out as a group and understand as a group to take the points that we deserve on the night. And I think that's been the story for me of the last 8 games. We were working through some things and some of the stuff before that and getting healthy and all those, but I really feel like we've allowed ourselves, for different reasons, situations, things like that, to squander some points over these last 8 games. And so I think those are the things we need to really hone in on in this game. Is yes, it's about our performances, but it's also about finishing the key moments of the game, defending the key moments of the game, and taking the points and the result that we deserve on the night and that we feel like we should get based off of our performance. And I think we've not done a great job of that in the last 8 games, even though I think our form has come around a little bit more in the last 8 games as Marco's gotten healthier and he's playing at a high level, and Gabe and Joe are healthy. We need them to be a little more precise in the final actions. That will help us a lot. Nasi's, he's giving us something a little different, and he's really settling into the team. So there's certainly some positives, and now it's about results, right? It's about results, but some of that is learning how to win again and remembering how to win and how to do those little fine things and detail things over the course of the game. So these 3 home games play a big role in that, I think, because maybe allows us to try to generate 1 game at a time, a little bit of momentum, but also learn some things about closing out games and things of that nature.
Is there a danger just looking at these 3 home games? Because I think I pointed out that you guys have played 4 more away games than
Sure.
home games, so there's sort of always been digging out of that hole for this
Yep.
season. But is there a danger if you guys don't have the performance? If you don't, then you get closer to the end of the season and people want to start at least mentally shutting things down?
I don't get the sense of that. I think we have a group that's really been focused on improving our performances, improving our relationships on the field, working to, again, like I said, it's a competitive group. We don't like the results that we've been getting, but we've also been focusing on how to become better. We have a lot of younger guys who, and we've talked about it as a group, every one of us has something that we're playing for in addition to the standings, the league, all those things, but we all individually have things that we need each other for and that we're playing for on an individual basis. We have guys who are building careers. We have guys who are towards the end of their careers who want to enjoy and compete and fight every last game that they have available to them. We have a lot of guys in these types of positions, so I don't think anyone can afford really the opportunity to shut it down. I think everyone has big things to focus on, both individually and collectively inside of this, that we need to keep moving forward as a team, and we need to also, we wear the LA Galaxy badge, and that means something, and we play in front of our supporters who give a lot to come to these games and be here, and so I don't think anybody is for a second thinking about not coming out and putting everything they have into this every single day. So
for Vancouver, a team that maybe has been missing some pieces, obviously,
Sure.
with international absences. They had a big road win last weekend. What do you expect out of a team that was, not too long ago top of the West and is still one of the best teams in Major League Soccer?
Yeah, I think you hit it in terms of, I think they're one of the best teams in terms of their collective play. All 11 guys on the field, whoever those 11 guys are, they're connected, they're working together, they're working hard. I don't think they have many guys who are just so different, but their group is so steady, and I think that's a great opportunity for us to play a team that's like that. I feel like the last game got very open and kind of gets awkward because of the way they press and things like this. This will be a very organized game against a team that's going to be methodical. Every one of their guys is going to fulfill their role on the day, and each guy has stepped up when they've needed to if other guys are missing. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to to focus on ourselves and make sure that we're doing the collective things right and that we're closing spaces. I felt like last game at times we were getting too separated. Our weak side defending was too far away. We weren't connecting. So we focused, our back line at times can step 5 more yards instead of stopping, 3 to 5 yards from where they are. There's things that we are continuing to focus on that we need to where I think the margins might lie for us to turn some of these results into real wins. And so those are things we got to focus on. It's a good team, and they have some nice pieces, but it's a good team.
You said you guys had 8 big chances.
Yeah.
What defines them?
It's a good question. I look at the stat sheet that and I look at it every now and then on one of the sites, and 8 is the most we've had in a game. When I know, for example, that we've had a lot of chances in a game, I might flip there just to see what their version of it is. I don't have an exact definition, but I think they're really high quality chances, of which I don't know if it means your XG is over a certain amount. I don't know exactly, but what I know is we had a lot of chances last game, and we squandered too many of them, and that becomes the difference in the game because we didn't give up many. Based on whatever this is, San Jose has 1, and we have 8, and that means that we were in better places than them, no matter how you define it, and we didn't take advantage of it. And I've seen 3 or so of these games where the goalkeeper of the other team is the MVP, which means we're also making him look good. So, these are things that we can execute on better and be more precise. But it's a sign, I think it is some sign of we're getting to good spots, but you got to make those things count.
I know a lot of the focus has been on Joe and his chances that he's missing. But what did you see from maybe San Jose? And what are your conversations been like since coming off that game?
Yeah, I think a lot for Joe is I see him overthinking situations and not flowing through them naturally at the speed that I think is probably what defined his natural speed. I see him, stopping things what he would normally be executing at speed, and maybe overthinking the situation, or if it doesn't set up exactly how he wants it, he wants to adjust it a little bit. And the thing for Joe is like his gift is that he's faster than most guys, and he can create a time advantage for himself against most guys. So when you stop the game or slow down the game, you give the advantage back to somebody who otherwise wouldn't have it against you. And so when you second guess or you overthink, you lose a little bit of time, but he's the guy who can increase the speed of things. So I saw some nice, there were some good moments when he went over to the right side where I felt like he was a little more natural. The ball that he played across the back line to Gabe towards the end, where he's definitely more comfortable on the right, and because he uses that speed to drive to his right side. On the left, I see sometimes he hesitates maybe with that. And so we've switched him in the game. We'll probably do more of those types of things through the course of games because I thought Gabe was dangerous when he went to the left. So it's things, but ultimately for Joe, for Gabe, it's about confidence. It's about the selection of where they decide to shoot, maybe versus where they decide to slip a pass, or some of the decisions and then some of the executions. But for all finishing stuff, a lot of it comes down to confidence and doing things in rhythm. And in basketball they say it's in a flow or whatever, but and you get into that rhythm and it just comes off. And right now I feel like they're fighting the rhythm a little bit, and Joe more than Gabe at the moment.
You switched them a lot last year, not so much this year? Or?
Yeah, we didn't do it as much at the beginning just because of, between having them both on the field and the stretches we've had. Like I try to read inside of the game whether I feel like one of them has an advantage over their guy or not, and if they have an advantage, then I don't want to necessarily just switch them up. If I feel like we get to a point inside the game where things have come neutralized in a way, then we'll switch them up and see if one of them can get at the other guy. I think for us in some of these games, just when they go to their natural wings, Gabe on the left and Joe on the right, it'll just make the game more vertical for us if there's space for us to attack. Like if the opposition's sitting low, then sometimes it's more difficult. But if there's, like in San Jose, when they're pressing us and it's open, and for them to be able to just attack the depth on their strong side, it can make a lot of sense for those guys. So, but I think it's something that we need to keep flirting with, for lack of better words, because each of them is very different for the defender who has to mark them, and when those outside backs have to see these different guys from time to time, it changes how they defend as well. So it's something we got to keep playing with.
defensively? How are you feeling? I know that you moved some pieces around against San Jose, short
Yeah.
around all that sort of stuff. But do you feel like you found some things in that switch?
Yeah, I thought Amiro looked a lot more comfortable on the left than I was maybe fully expecting. You know, we've asked him before, and he says, "No, I'm okay." But we try to give him more and more repetitions. You know, just because between Zonka and Maya, if they play on the right, that's their more natural side, and they're probably between each of them, they're probably the more comfortable passer in the grand scheme of things. It also could change our rotations and how we do it if Amiro's comfortable on the left. In this particular game, we did it because we thought it was a better matchup for Amiro to deal with Christian Espinoza. If he was to happen to break in transition or something, Amiro was versus on the other side was more times than not, it would have been an Orongo who suits our bigger center back. So we did it a little bit for matchups reasons, and through the course of it, I thought he looked comfortable, and he looked even in the passing stuff, I thought his decisions and his execution of things was quite comfortable. He even hit a left-footed ball over distance and started a transition. So I thought that was nice. I know Zonka for sure is more comfortable on the right side. Maya probably a little more comfortable on the right, but he's okay on either side. The second was just Julian. When we knew we were going to build up a certain way, and Julian's just ability to get up and down the sideline and maybe give a little more at times into the attack. Also in a one-on-one game, Julian's ability to just kind of scoot out of situations is one of his gifts, I think, to be able to dribble off the sideline or beat the initial defender. And against a team that wants to go one-on-one and match you up all over the place, if you can eliminate that first defender, it changes a lot of things. And Julian, I thought he had a solid game doing some of those things, and on the defensive side for us as well. So Mickey and Mouty, we want to keep getting Mouty some minutes and keep bringing him forward as a player. He's had some good moments. So for us, it's a little bit of, in addition to seeing what we're going to get out of the group, it's getting guys more experience and bringing these guys along as well. But each of them is a little bit different than the other guy. So that's part of it. Again, for me in our back line, if we're just talking about our back line unit, I feel like we need to be a little more active in terms of closing space and shifting from side to side. I thought we were better in the second half. In the first half, I thought we were a little slow, and that left us dealing with some situations that I think we could have dealt with a little earlier if we would have been moving a little bit sharper. So those are things that that we're just pushing through. Again, at each game, it's how we can improve and get better.
We'll go to Zoom. Alex, go ahead.
Hi, Greg. Thank you for your time. Just going back to the defensive talk, Amiro Garces starting the last couple games after, being on the bench for a handful. Just kind of what's the journey been with him this season? I know you've kind of pushed for him to kind of take that next step in his game this year.
Yeah, he's a young center back in the grand scheme of things, in my view. He came to us and he has a very specific skill set, which is in kind of his one-on-one defending and his ability to defend in space and track things down, and all those things are like, that's his bread and butter. The things that we're working with Amiro on is how do all of his decisions over the course of a game impact the rest of his line and the people around him. So when does he release off of the forward when the forward is his responsibility, and really get across in support of Mickey, for example, or our right back, so that our right back feels comfortable to release and go get pressure on the winger, knowing that they have cover. Whereas Amiro sometimes will get pulled back and be more worried about the forward and not release early enough. So it's him learning some of the collective ideas and the collective decision-making things that I want him to continue to grow at, because if he does, he's going to become an outstanding center back, and he'll be able to play at a different level. And so, but when for example, he's a little hesitant to release and get across, then Mickey's going to be hesitant to release, and then the back line as a unit just becomes a little more vulnerable in those situations. So for him, it's not always a problem because of his incredible speed and athleticism, but what it does is it kind of creates problems for other guys sometimes who aren't as confident in their decisions because they're not sure what Amiro's decision is going to be. He's learning and he's getting better, and sometimes after a couple games for him to take a break and watch and take some things in, then he comes back and he's been better in those situations after he's taken a little breather. But he's a player we believe in, and we know he has a high upside, so he's going to be on the field whenever we need him on the field and wherever we feel like we can keep progressing his game. So I feel like he's doing those things out on the training field. He's he knows what he needs to work on, and he's focusing and locking in on some of those things. But good player, kind of trying to build his broader skill set.
Yeah, and my final question, the transfer window opens later this month. Do you anticipate the club to be active? Do you anticipate any movement? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I hope. It's a tricky one, again, because for us, it's probably two-way types of stuff. It's not going to be a lot of, as I see it right now, it's not going to be a lot of just one-way traffic coming in. It's going to have to be some flowing situations, and so how that all works, we have to see. I'm listening in and trying to connect with Will and Mikko and the guys who are looking through that and working through that stuff. So we want to continue every window to try to take a step forward. So it would be great, but I think there's some variables inside of that need to transpire for us to be as active as maybe we would normally like to be.
Next, we'll go to Rob.
Hey, Greg, thanks so much for your time. I have two for you today. Marco scored the tying goal in the last match. He has 10 goal involvements in the last 10 matches. Is this the version of him that the Galaxy thought they were getting?
Yeah, I think he's been really in form, and I think a lot of that and I've said this, months ago. It's all really just kind of how he feels, and he's feeling a lot better. He's moving a lot better. He's been able to train now on a consistent basis. For the first year roughly, or 6-7 months, it was always up and down, one step forward, two back, two steps forward, two back. It was just trying to get him healthy and feeling good. And now that he's healthy and feeling good, he's able to get a rhythm. He's able to establish some timing with the guys out there, and he understands our league now. So I really feel like we're getting what we expected. He's helping us guys up there to organize and make decisions. So he's playing beyond just his role in his position. I think he's helping other guys as well out there. So I've been really, really happy with him. I know he feels good, and that is such a huge part of it. And our goal is to try to keep him feeling good and trying to keep him just in the good mindset as he keeps going from match to match. But he and I collaborate, through the game. How you feeling? How you doing? Try to make sure, and he knows his body better than anybody. So he's communicating with me too, based off of how he's feeling through the course of the game. And I think as long as we keep that going, I think we have a good chance of keeping him in a good spot.
And for my final one, Greg, Friday will be the Galaxy's first match since ICE began conducting raids and detentions in Los Angeles, which obviously prompted protests and LA's occupation. Yesterday, we saw ICE presence on Cal State Dominguez Hills campus, just steps away from the stadium. Some fans, especially those in the immigrant and Latino communities, have voiced real concerns about safety and whether it's wise to attend games under these circumstances. Given the Galaxy's decision not to issue a public statement on these events, what would you say to fans who are afraid, not just about the atmosphere in the stadium, but the act of getting there and actually into the stadium? Why should they feel safe and supported in attending the match this Friday? Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Rob. So I think there's a couple things that are with that. First is being here and being on the inside. I know that from the Galaxy organization, they're doing everything they can to create a safe environment and an inclusive environment for everybody who wants to come and wants to be here and be in the stadium. And so I know those things are transpiring on the Galaxy side to try to do that. The second side of it is, personally, I wouldn't tell anyone who doesn't feel comfortable or safe to go anywhere. I would say if you feel like it, we're as an organization trying to do everything to help people to feel safe and to feel like this is a place where they can come and exercise their right and joy to come watch the team and support the club and do all of those things, and for us to be create as safe a place as we can. But as far as again with anyone, I think you have to do what you got to do to feel comfortable and safe, and I would say that to anyone in life in any particular situation. It's so important, and so I support anyone's decision in that. But I also I hope that people, we would love them to be here, and we want them to feel safe when they're here, and I want them to trust the club that we're doing everything we can to provide a safe environment for them to come be fans of the club and the Galaxy. But I understand as best as I can. I understand the concern, and I support anybody's right to make whatever decision they want to on the night. So I hope we see people here, because that's what we want, and that's, as a team, that's what we want. And like I said, I hope it works out in the right way. But I respect anybody's decision in this situation.
Thanks, Greg.
Yep.
And we'll wrap with Daniel Leia. Go ahead.
Hey, Greg. Thank you for your previous answer. I would like to ask you, LA Galaxy has been the face of the league for many years, and always playing in the 4th of July, it means something special for the fans, the club.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any particular memory to share with us regarding as a player or like a coach for this particular day?
Yeah, I mean, the games that stand out to me regarding like the 4th of July were Rose Bowl days, just because at those days, whenever it was 4th of July and the fireworks were coming, it meant that there was going to be 60,000 plus, and for those of us who playing in front of 60,000 was certainly a unique day. And so, I mean, I can't remember back. I feel like we played New York at some point on there. I feel like we've played a ton of teams on the 4th of July, because it's always been a huge occasion in LA. For me, it's always one. Obviously, the last couple of years against LAFC in the Rose Bowl have been amongst the biggest, especially 2 years ago when the stadium was absolutely full and we won, and that's always a good feeling. But that was probably the best one for me. But it's always been kind of centered around the Rose Bowl as the backdrop, if I'm being honest, like the biggest days for us as a club, for me as a player, things like that. So, but I'm looking forward to another 4th of July. We're back in our stadium. It'll be intimate, and hopefully it'll be exciting. And most important thing is that we come away with a win.
Anything else? Thank you for your time, Greg.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.